when appropriate.
Right,
yeah.
guys,
So what I'll do
live. We're live. We'll give everyone a couple minutes to join. Welcome to the stream. We have Casey from Clink and Brandiose in the house. So if you guys are in the stream, say hi. I'm going to share the links in FHS.
I like that you guys use the Cincinnati Reds font to spell my name.
Yeah.
Nice touch.
Yeah, I like it.
I love what you guys did with Mr. Redlegs.
Oh, thanks. That was a fun project.
I like it a lot. Probably my favorite mascot.
They did a great job with the costume too. You've probably seen it live, right? Or you've seen a picture of it. It's great.
Yeah.
It looks amazing.
Felix says hi, Casey.
What's that?
Felix says hi.
Hi, Felix.
Felix says
Yeah, Felix also says happy birthday. I think we're gonna have to start the show by singing happy birthday to you.
No, let's not do that. Let's not do that.
Don't worry, Leon, I wasn't going to.
All right, should we start?
Yeah, let's start.
All right, guys. Hey guys, welcome to Views from the Vault, episode 12. It's your homie Leon here. We have my co-hosts Pierre and Jason. Today we have a very special episode. We have Casey White here from the Clink Room and Brandiose. So we're going to be going under the cap with him and learn a little bit about the business and how he started and kind of get an insider's perspective. So I hope you guys enjoy it. So Pierre, take it away.
Thanks, Leon. And happy birthday, Leon.
Thank you.
It's great to have you. We don't miss a show here. Leon said to me, I said, Leon, do you want to take your birthday off? He said, absolutely not. I live for this.
Exactly. No days off.
No days off, right. So first, Casey, I'm sure Chris from Hillside Goods is excited to see what you're wearing today.
We love Chris. He's one of the best designers that we've ever worked with. This design is one of my favorite Clink designs ever. And yeah, Hillside's Goods is an exciting project he's working on. Got to give him a shout, definitely.
Yeah, so it's good stuff. So listen, I want to thank you too for coming on, Casey. I know you're a busy guy. You got a lot of stuff going on. And right now, one of the centerpieces in the hat world is Clink Room. And it's taken the fitted world by storm. Folks are so glued to everything Clink Room right now. So I know you've got a lot going on. I really want to tell you how much Leon, Jason, and I appreciate you coming on with us. Thank you so much.
That means so much, man. The love that we've felt from the collector community and the whole fitted community has been overwhelming, to be honest. Yeah.
And you guys are, you know, you're hurting my wallet, you know, I'll say that, but it's for a good reason. So I can't wait till those things start landing on my doorstep. But Casey, let's start by, you know, I know a lot of folks want to learn more about you. So I'd love it if you could just tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay, yeah. So, well, first of all, our offices are right under the airport here in San Diego. So it's sort of a signature of ever talking to anybody at Brandiose that you might have to pause every once in a while when a plane goes over. But yeah, so we, Jason, my business partner, and I have been best friends since kindergarten. We met on Miss Larrabee's playground. And yeah, we all growing up, we just made movies, art, tons of stuff. And we're always being creative. When we got into college, I was working at a lumber yard. Jason was a mascot at SeaWorld, and we both hated our jobs. So one summer we were like, well, we could put a portfolio together of work that we've done. We had done some stuff for our high school. We went to Helix High School here in San Diego. It's like a powerhouse, like sports school, like, you know, Bill Walton went there, Reggie Bush, Alex Smith, like it's a badass school. And so we did a bunch of stuff for them. My dad was a football coach. We did stuff for them. Anyways, we pulled together our high school portfolio. And this was in the summer, I think between our sophomore and junior year. And we wrote letters to 150 minor league baseball teams. One got back to us, the West Tennessee Diamond Jacks. They don't even exist anymore. They're the general. And that was our first project. And that pretty much from then on, I think the next summer we did 3 teams, and then the next summer 5, and 20 years later, here we are.
Geez, so this started in a dorm room.
Yeah, well, technically at Jason's parents' room, but by the time we had gone back to college, yeah, we were working in a dorm room. Yeah.
Wow. So take us through. So that's incredible. So this friendship kind of, tell me a little bit about that. Like, gosh, I mean, you've known him since kindergarten, right?
Right.
And you guys how is that, like, you know, I just want to pause here and talk a little bit about that relationship. Like, my God, man, that's a long time.
Yeah,
I mean, you look almost, you got to be almost 30 years old. So, I mean, that's a long time to kind of be working with your best friend, right? So tell us about that. How's that been?
That's very kind of you. Yeah, we're 40. Yeah, I've known him since I was 5 years old. Yeah, it's a very special relationship. I mean, we're more like a married couple in some ways than a business partner. Yeah. In fact, this feels weird being in quarantine. You know, he's got 3 kids. So the idea of getting out of the house to be productive has been important. So he's the one that's been coming to the office. I'm like at home more, and it's weird not seeing him 5 days a week at least, you know? Yeah, it's a very special relationship. I could talk forever probably about it. It's one of those things where I don't even know if I could recommend someone. Like, someone will say, I want to start a business with my friend. I'm like, ugh, I don't know if I should do that. And not because Jason and I don't fight, really. We've never had any issues. It's just, it feels like what we're doing is weird. And like, one thing our significant others always say, like, when we talk to each other, we use such shorthand that like no one can understand us.
Yeah.
Not even our significant others. So
yeah,
it's a very strange thing. I think the longevity has to do with a love for working together. If I had to say, like, what do I love about my job? I love 2 things: drawing.
Yeah.
And I love working with Jason. It's just, we have so much fun together.
Yeah.
And working together, being creative together it's the most fun way I know how to be creative.
Yeah, so it has its challenges, but overall it's rewarding and fun for you. So that sounds like a pretty great job to me.
It is very lucky.
Yeah, so you went from the dorm, right? And then and you end up evolving to this place where you're creating. So take us through that leg of the journey.
Right. So we did our first team. It did well. And then I remember like trying to figure out how we're going to get our next team. So I think our next team was I can't even remember. I think, well, arena football was around. So we thought maybe arena football would be big. You know, I would say the next like 5 to 7 years were about honing our process. You know, when we started, Jason and I would do all the design together. That's not the case anymore. He runs the business side now, the sales side, and he also manages the design team. And in a lot of ways, I'm just kind of like another designer in the cog. I kind of just show up and look at my like projects that I got to do. So I think that's one thing actually that has to do with our longevity, is it's evolved. But yeah, so we were just figuring out how to serve our clients, how to be the best designer we could, how to keep it interesting. You know, we pretty quickly fell in love with minor league baseball specifically because it's just so kind of old school and cool. And the stuff you can do with them is, you know, they're small staffs. They want to make a splash, so they're going to take risks. Yeah. So that was good. But yeah, other than that, it's like, you know, we like running a business. We like figuring out how to do that together, how to grow in a way that feels natural and healthy. And yeah, basically we just want to have fun and be creative.
So let me ask Casey. So like the thing that really like drew you to minor league baseball is that grassroots type feel to it, right? Where you have the ability to make an impact and you have less probably levers to pull to get something approved, right? I mean, because you're dealing with folks that are really passionate about making a difference and kind of showing their club off in the right way.
Yes. So I would say that's what kept us in there. What drew us to it was this idea that I think we thought we could break into that market, really.
Yeah.
But I also think, like, I remember growing up, like getting the Starstruck catalog and just like pouring over the Starstruck catalog. And I remember really distinctly, actually, and I might have even been in like Jason's bedroom when I was, 12 years old or something, and getting the Starstruck catalog and seeing that there was like a few new logos. There was like a double spread in every Starstruck catalog that had like two, maybe it was four pages or something. But I remember being like, oh, there's like a new, Louisville Bats or something. I don't even remember what it was, but someone had a rebrand and that was rare back then, right? And that was like exciting. It was like, whoa, that's so out there and cool and crazy. But then, 10 years go by and I think you kind of forget about that. But I think that informed us approaching the industry. And then, we just kind of fell in love with the industry. And having worked with Nike and Mattel and Disney and Major League Baseball, the NBA, we get to work with big people, and that's exciting. Don't get me wrong, but it's just not as you can't muck stuff up as much, and I mean that in the best possible way.
Oh yeah, no. Listen, I get it. I get that concept, and I also think there's probably a little bit more freedom to kind of do some cool shit when you don't have all this big corporation kind of looking over it at the same way as like.
They're cautious, and I get it. Their jobs are different, right? I mean, if you're the Padres, you're going to be on Sports Center likely, at least a few times that week. So you don't need to tap dance as hard as we're tap dancing.
Right, yeah.
And then but that's okay. It's a different job, honestly. If I'm making a hat or a new logo for the Major League, it's a different job.
Yeah. So Casey, tell us, so how did it transition? Like, not really transition, but how did you add Clink Room to the fold? Like, tell us about how that came about.
Yeah. So the origin of the Clink Room, blogs were a thing back then, and I think we wanted to do a blog. We had, I think this is the real origin. Do you want to get deep into this? Okay.
Oh, yeah, let's do it.
Here we go. Okay. We were hired by a guy in Hawaii who made his fortune selling the broken pieces of macadamia nuts to the chocolate company okay, how do I put this? I should back up. There's a story in business called Velveeta. And it's the story of Velveeta and how Velveeta came to be. And at some point, Kraft was throwing away all of these like milk fats and like stuff that spilled out of there, like when they're making the Swiss cheese and the cheddar and all that stuff. And they packaged it all together and they blended it all up and they put dye in it and they called it Velveeta. And within a few years, it became like the biggest seller for Kraft, right? Okay, so this guy heard about this in Hawaii. And I guess when they crush macadamia nuts, they like break them a lot. Anyway, he figured that out and he was like, I'm going to sell these to the chocolate company. So now if you've ever been to Hawaii, it's like you can't look anywhere. Everywhere's covered with chocolate covered macadamia nuts. Anyways, this guy made a fortune doing that. He loved baseball. He was going to start a wood bat league, a college wood bat league in Hawaii. And he hired us to do that. Anyways, he told us this story. And Jason and I remember we were actually going to fly to Japan to do a job the next week. And we were talking on the plane and we were like, oh shit, what's our Velveeta? What is our Velveeta? And we were thinking like, you know what our Velveeta is? For every project we do, for every hat logo you see, I do like 20 concept sketches. And our idea was like, well, what if we could make a deal somehow with the minor league clubs to release those logos that didn't get picked as limited editions? That's it. That's the Clink Room. So if you see the Syracuse Chiefs hat there, that edition, that was it. I think that was our second hat we ever did. Clink. And it was born. It was our Velveeta idea, and then it evolved pretty quickly because this community of people popped up. We also realized that not everyone had access to ordering New Era hats, and that there was like a barrier to entry there. We also knew that we had learned a lot about how to design for especially for New Era. We've spent days up in Buffalo, like literally sitting over the shoulder, learning from their digitizers, learning as crazy secrets as we can find, and trying to ferret out like crazy techniques that people don't use. And so we were like, oh, we can use this to bring fresh ideas. So yeah. And then I just fell in love with the design community, the cap collecting community. It was great. That's the Clink Room.
So let me ask a question, Casey. So Clink Room was a powerful force, and it was something super creative and new to everyone then. What ended up leading to it kind of going into that state of hiatus?
So I don't know if I've ever talked about this. So I was running it all by myself. I was living in New York City when I launched it, and my ex-wife and I, we moved to New Mexico, and I was running it out of my little Pueblo house in New Mexico and loading up my old truck and with hats every week. And it was just kind of crushing me, honestly, because I was trying to do the design work and trying to do the other thing. Then we formed a relationship with Hat Club, and they took over the fulfillment. That was great. And Hat Club is still one of our closest buddies. So that was great. And we were doing a lot of work for them. We were doing a lot of work of just Clink stuff. And then we got asked actually to create an app for minor league baseball. A team, they were like, you guys understand our business. A team came to us and said, you guys understand our business. We have these technology guys. If you guys work with these technology guys to build this app, we will help sell it in the industry. So we're like, okay, so we started that project. I honestly didn't even work on it the first year. That was a Jason project. I was concentrating fully on the Clink Room. Anyways, the app was a hit. The first year, I think we had 8 teams jump on board. That next winter meetings, Major League Baseball contacted us and said, we want your app to be the official app of minor league baseball. So we had to go from 8 teams to 160 teams in months. So I had to jump ship, basically. And Clink always made a little money, but it was always it was fine. It was fine.
It had a cult follow. It had a cult following to it, right?
Yeah. And then I think at the same time too, snapbacks were coming in. We talked a little bit earlier. Snapbacks were coming in, and people just weren't buying fitted hats at the same rate. So, I did it for 4.5, 5 years, whatever it was, and I got burned out. I was, I had to post every day, and nice switch up there with the manager edition Flying Tigers. That's good. But so that's the story of it. And then
do you think, Casey, so we're gonna head into the rebirth of Clink Room, so to speak, right? But do you think, because I think it's safe to say it's been a hit, the rebirth. But do you think you must, I don't know what you feel about this, but do you believe a lot of this strength at the rebirth is because of that hiatus?
Yes, I think that there was like a lore that got built up around some of those Clink hats that I didn't even understand until we relaunched.
Yeah,
I think also Brandiose wasn't, when we shut down the Clink Room, Brandiose wasn't what Brandiose is today. From a company standpoint, the amount of people that work for us to our reputation. Basically, we have a spot on SportsCenter every week now. It's I would have never guessed that, or we wouldn't have ever planned that. So, and then, there's a large, just all of our hats that we do, all the Copa stuff, the food fight stuff that we do, all of that crazy stuff that we do has a huge market for it.
Yeah.
So I think that has contributed too. But yes, definitely. I think so. Yeah.
Can I ask a question, Casey, before we get into the Rebirth, right? A two-part question. So can you share what the best-selling Clink Room hat was? And
Yes.
not the new ones. I'm talking the first stage of the Clink Room journey. And then what your favorite was.
That's a good question. I don't think we ever ordered more than 144 of anything. So all those editions, and because of the amount of customization on the editions, we had to do 144. I mean, it has the pencil side hit. It's got.
Yeah.
And then and in fact, our connection at the time they wouldn't let our rep at New Era wouldn't let us do like custom tags or anything. We only got, if you see a Brandiose tag in anything, that's only because Hat Club can get that done. We couldn't get that done on our own. So that's why you see like the tags that I put in by hand with like rivets.
Yeah.
Like that was just like, we couldn't get custom tags done. So we had to come up with a new solution, which I think makes the hat weird and cool.
Yeah. It gives it a certain character, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah. I do think restrictions are good for creativity, actually. Honestly, it's one of the reasons why I've fallen in love with designing for the hat canvas. It's really restrictive, actually.
Yeah. Yeah. And it makes you think differently, right? I mean, it puts you in a place where you have to get even more creative to make things work, and Leon has often gushed over the embroidery work that you guys kind of do. So, I mean, Leon will tear apart one of these hats and just say, look at how this is embroidered. And, it's interesting to hear Leon talk through those things, but he often gushes about the embroidery work that you guys put out. But can you answer the second part of my question, which is, what's your favorite release from that initial stage?
Okay, that's a good question. I think of the collaboration hats, I mean, Kong was a collaboration. That was a contest we ran. It was someone submitted like a gorilla logo, but maybe it didn't even get produced, and someone called it Clink Kong, and I was like, oh shit, that's our Mickey Mouse. Like that's it. So I think we ran a contest, and then that's where Kevin Werther, who's an amazing designer out of Rochester, I think, he designed Clink Kong. He did the goldfinches, the upside down goldfinches.
Oh yeah, I love that one, man.
He gave birth to Kong, the logo as we know it. So yeah, Kong is a special place in my heart. Every time I see Kong, it makes me happy. I don't know why. I mean, because I loved the Clink Room when it was born. But I think this is one of my favorite collaborations. I love Sirens too. I don't know if you've seen, guys who saw that one. I also look at Sirens a little cautionarily too. Sirens, we really pushed some of the embroidery stuff. And I remember when it came back, I always lay out how I want stitch direction and what raised and everything. And I really debated, this is some minutia stuff right here. I really debated.
Yeah, people love this, man. People want to hear it, man.
All right, one time, Jason, if he's watching, he's laughing at me because you guys are the only people that give a shit about this stuff. But so there's I was trying to think about her rib cage and how to block out her rib cage, and I thought, well, her body's turned, so I should only raise this one part. And when it came in, I thought it was great, but then we released it, and everyone was like, "Oh, it looks like she has a giant boob on one side." Okay, so that's one of my favorite logos. I think it's great. I probably would embroider it differently now, but
yeah,
I look at that hat and I'm like, you know what? Her torso's turned. It should be raised on one side.
Oh, yeah, that's another thing that just gives it character, man. I mean, listen, I think that kind of stuff. Sometimes the imperfections are what makes something perfect, in my opinion, when you're looking at some of this stuff, But the hat you're wearing specifically, we had a long conversation with Chris, and we talked about how once you have the hat you're wearing in hand, that's when you realize the importance of embroidery. Because if
Yes.
that logo's just drawn, it's like, oh, all right, that's cool. But then when
Yeah.
you get the hat in hand and you see the intricacies of the embroidery work, it's incredible. That's an incredible piece of work.
So this was born out of this sort of thinking was born out directly out of going to Buffalo and sitting behind the digitizers and like peppering them with questions. And I remember distinctly asking, it was the morning of, and this one woman, I wish I knew her name because she has such a sway on how I even think about design now. But you know, she was talking about all the different types of stitches and the process in which you have to like lay down, you know, the different, all the directions you have to lay down. And I remember asking her, I was like, what's a technique that you know you can do, but no one does, right? No one takes advantage of it. And she was like, looked at it, she like reaches over, she pulls open a drawer, and she pulled out, I think, a few samples, but there's two that stuck in my mind. The first one was just on a swatch of fabric. And it was like do you guys know who Thomas Kincaid is?
Thomas
He's a painter, a cheese ball painter.
Yeah.
He's passed on now, so I shouldn't talk bad about his work. But he made a fortune making these paintings that were like, you know, like a snowy scene. Like a house.
Oh,
like,
yeah, no, I know. Yeah, I'm familiar with the artist.
Yeah. Very, very holiday, like
Yep.
very sugary.
Yeah, you'll find these on Christmas cards every year.
Christmas cards, everything he
Every
paints.
dentist office in the country.
Yeah.
So she did a Thomas Kincaid painting in embroidery using like hash marks and like very loose stitches. And I remember I'm a painting major. I went to art school for painting, and I remember thinking like, that is unbelievable. I remember seeing it being like, I know I can never do that or like design that as a designer and give that to a digitizer because how can I communicate? I would need you to, do whatever, 6 lines. I was like, okay, whatever. But the other swatch she pulled out was a text, and it might even been in like Future or some block text, maybe Impact or something nonsense like that. But it said blood, and inside of the blood was like dripping blood. So the text itself was just like a bold thing, but there was blood dripping, and it was all done in red on like a black swatch. And I remember thinking to myself, oh, that's like the trick to not having to complicate a logo. So now, I think one of our first logos that we ever did that used that treatment in minor league baseball is the Delmarva Shorebirds. We actually went, when we were in Delmarva, they have this museum. It's unbelievable, actually. It's totally worth seeing. Delmarva's in the peninsula right outside of Baltimore. But they have this wood carved bird museum. And it sounds like a dumb museum. It ain't. It's like, you gotta go to this wood carved bird museum. There's like, the birds are carved out of one solid piece of wood, and each feather is like, comes off of it, and it like is translucent, it's so thin. And I thought to myself, okay, we're gonna do this on embroidery. I'm doing this on embroidery with this technique I learned, the blood technique I learned in Buffalo.
Jesus, see?
And that was my first one. So now, as I like to explain, that was the long way around because you guys are weirdos like me. But the long and short of it is the hat needs to function in two places really well. It needs to function on the field, right? It needs to be iconic from a distance. And it needs to function when you walk up to the store wall.
Yeah.
So that's what I think has made our brand successful, actually. It's
That's
like
awesome,
like low key why we do well is because the hat has to function in both those areas. So embroidery is the way to make it. When I walk up to this hat or any of our minor league hats, I want to be like, oh, this is like of quality. This is exciting. There's things I missed that when I saw it from a distance, Yeah.
Well, mission accomplished. And I got to tell you, this is like gold to everybody that's watching. So, so listen, Casey, so let's talk a little bit about, now we're at the point of you're heading towards the rebirth of Clink Room. So what led to that? Like what led you to a place, all right, it's time to restart this engine?
Okay, so a year ago, amongst all of the sort of Kickstarter, all that stuff, Jay and I had a conversation that we said, oh, we should relaunch the Clink Room and just do nothing but pre-orders and do it like Kickstarter. And I thought that's a good idea. And so we talked about it forever. We were running a few other things. The technology company is still a thing that we run. We don't do the app for minor league baseball anymore, but we still run that. So we were like, I just honestly didn't have time to do it. Then the pandemic hit. And I had some work, a little bit of work I had done on it, like just a few hours worth maybe. And within a month, we have a staff, and we've been really lucky actually. We had assumed the design business would take a 90% hit in revenue, but it hasn't been the case. Honestly, this year is going to be a great year, shockingly. But we had assumed, like when it hit, we were like, there's no minor league baseball, there's no TV deal to fall back on, there's none of that. So we were like, well, we got to figure out a way to, like, we basically made a list of everything we could, bring in new fresh revenue, and we prioritized it all. And Jay is working on his end of the list, and Clink Room is number one on my end of the list. So that was what the impetus was. Yeah. So the first thing I did is I put together, I sort of figured out the technology portion of it, and then I reached out to all of the old designers that I loved working with. Some of them work for us now.
Yeah.
And we're like, hey, give me a design. We're going to relaunch this thing. And Efra, Chimuko Studios, he was a huge help. He was there. He was like the first person I called. Efra is just like such an awesome, cool, fun person to work with.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, and that's it, man.
So I'd love to hear more about, not necessarily the business model, because that's your thing, but the process. So we've got folks that are out there. It's almost like crowdsourcing designs, right, in a really big way. And a lot of folks are probably throwing stuff at you, like, look at this, like, let's take a look at this. But tell us about, this whole process that from beginning to when it hits pre-order and production. Can you do that for us? Because there's a lot going on here. It's not just the logistical pieces that we can see,
right,
but the ones we don't. And also what we can see sometimes is a little confusing to some folks. I think I explained it okay last week, but I'd love to hear it right from the horse's mouth in terms of, what goes on from the Monday morning crits to the pre-order to the production.
Okay, yes. So, well, before I get into that, I just want to say that how overwhelming it's been. I mean, we thought we'd be doing like a fifth or a sixth of the sales. I mean, the community has been so supportive, and the passion that people have and the nostalgia for our old work, it's like overwhelming, honestly. And for a small business that is, this was like a Hail Mary. This is one of our few Hail Marys we threw. Like, to have it be working so well and to be fun and to have everyone be in support of has just been incredible. So thank you guys. But yeah, so the process, I knew that I'd learned so much from the first time I running Clink. I'm not interested in running like a huge show. I want to keep things small, flexibility, and I don't know. It's just who I am. I'm not like, I went to art school. I didn't go to business school. So I knew one thing I learned from the Clink Room is that you have to like systematize things. You have to like keep things in order. So I knew, okay, well, I wanted to do weekly drops. We had some experience. We had a lot of success with that. We might even done more crits than that. Anyways, there was always a lack of a good rhythm in the old Clink Room. And I wanted to I wanted to make sure there was a good rhythm. I knew that I wanted to drop new hats every Friday. I knew that I wanted to do the critiques, which is a real carryover from the Clink Room, on Monday.
Yeah. I
still, frankly, haven't figured out how to fill the middle of the week. That's something we're gonna still work on. So yeah, so there's still room to grow. But one thing I didn't realize is how much running the Clink room is almost like running a magazine or a newspaper. So there's a deadline, and that's like, you know, midnight East Coast time. And that's our deadline. We have to publish by then. And
Yeah.
so I have to, so the previous week I have the stuff ready that I'm going to show on Monday. I have to sort of curate that list, right? I want it to be compelling enough that it's interesting to people. And you know, there has to be a variety, and I kind of have to predict a little bit like, well, I think maybe people will like these ones, because I know I roughly want 3 to 6 designs every Friday in there. So I kind of have to like make a projection a little bit, but I've been surprised too. Some people are like, I freaking love this design. I'm like, oh, okay. So, but there is a little bit of a, you know, there's some like pre-planning of the sort of thing. Then we try to pick the designs that move ahead by Tuesday morning. There's a small group of us that get together and kind of have an editorial discussion about that. And then we reach out to those designers, and hopefully they fill out everything right. They have to, you know, we have to get contracts in place and everything like that. While that's happening, our team is cleaning stuff up.
Yeah.
Even great designers, if you're just not used to designing for embroidery, you know, and there could be little things too, like removal of a little highlight or something like that, that I know is gonna not be necessary in embroidery and actually clutter it. Even though it might look better in graphics. Anyway,
Yeah.
there's a lot of that back and forth. And then sometimes it's fully recreating stuff too. I mean, there's the Cat Fiend, Omar, submitted that, like, he submitted the Kong with, like, you know, he cobbled it together. But I saw it, I was like, that's a great idea. And so we redid it and made it, you know, we took it to another level. Actually, that's something if I can communicate one thing about the Clink room process, the submission process, I'm much less interested in the quality of the design. I'm way more interested in the idea, and because I can make the design work on a hat.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Casey, can I ask a question real quick?
Yeah.
So I think this is something a lot of people wonder is, like, you know, the Monday morning crits, right? Does that help decide whether it moves forward? Yes. Does it ever help decide subtle changes you may make to the hat? Does it do any of those things?
Absolutely. Colorway decisions are maybe the most common change. We genuinely look at we're still trying to figure it out. I mean, this week we did our vote, our first like yes or no vote on this Instagram stories on Monday. Before we had it had been like a question thing, and sifting through all those questions was good. Actually, there was like there would be some like, you got to make that undervisor gray. Like, yeah, I heard that, you know, you'd hear that 10 times and then you'd be like, oh, I guess I got to make that undervisor gray.
Yeah.
But I feel like the voting system was well, we'll find out. But I felt like it was more, people were more willing to like engage with that maybe.
Yeah. Is there oftentimes in these meetings of the mind when you're deciding whether to move something forward, is there oftentimes disagreements?
No, we're not. No.
No, usually pretty smooth.
There's, you know, there's enough for everybody.
Yeah.
I mean, I think everyone has their favorites. And we listen to everybody, and there's some designs in the shop right now that I wouldn't have put in the shop.
yeah. But yeah, I get it. So it's kind of allowing for space for folks to have different tastes. And that's kind of like what I was getting at. There's all different tastes, right? So
all different takes, yeah. And we're learning too, you know. We're trying not to chase trends. We want to do stuff that we love, you know, and and that's where actually the collectors only came in. That's sort of like experimentation with like, well, collectors only actually started out because we kind of, after the first couple of weeks, I kind of felt like it was unsporting to put my designs in the like Monday morning crits or like Efra's designs. I was like, it's not very sporting. So we needed an outlet for that. And then I thought, well, we could call it collectors only and maybe just do whatever we want.
Yeah.
Another thing, well, the first, I think, wasn't the first collector's only, that was the Konnichiwa column,
Yeah,
right?
the white one. The white
The
one.
white, yeah.
Okay, so there was some design and everyone was saying, no white, no white, no white on that hat. It's going to get dirty. And I was like, well, now I have to do an all white hat. So yeah, I mean, yeah.
So Casey, let me ask the question. So you're getting through it and you've got some that you turn down, right? And you're like, all right, these ones aren't moving forward. Do those, like, how do you approach those conversations? Because I think in the creative world, a lot of folks are really used to getting harsh feedback, right? Because in my job, like when I'm interviewing someone from the creative world, they're usually pretty good at getting feedback, constructive feedback or critical feedback. So how does that go? Like, how do you handle those conversations? Does someone on your team handle those conversations? Like, how does the turn down happen? Because that's got to be a tough moment for some folks that are really, yeah, I mean, they're passionate about what they're doing and what they're trying to deliver to the community. What do you do? What do you do with those conversations?
Yeah. I think it's hard not to get picked. I'm sure. I will say that people that are diligent, people that are diligent and that reach out to me and ask why didn't I make the cut this week, get love. And there's some designs. There's a design that we're going to put on Monday that's a redo from a few weeks ago that only got, I'll even shout it out. It's I don't even know who did it. I forget the guy whose name who did it, but he was the pineapple one. And it got like a lot of love. A lot of love. And I saw it and I was like, oh shit, I want a pineapple hat on the Clink room, but that isn't the hat yet. And so he reached out, or I reached out. I think he reached out and was like, hey, how can I make my design better? And I was like, thank you for reaching out. I just didn't have time because we're kind of still in the weeds, honestly, trying to get stuff running. And I was like, do this, this, and this. And I'll repost it and you'll get in. Because I want a pineapple design in there. I want to wear it. Yeah, so he did that. So on Monday, you'll see a fresh pineapple design. And that,
listen, that's what it's about, right? Like someone who wants to get better, and you can be a mentor to some of these folks, and allowing that to happen and that openness to ask for help is probably pretty impressive to see on your end too. I mean, it's like, all right, this person wants to be successful and do great things. So makes you want to help them more.
It's really like, I think it's one of the reasons why Brandiose is successful, honestly, because I'm not, I know what, I went to school to be a painter. I know what it's like to make art for yourself.
Yeah.
Design ain't that. Like design, you're serving your customer. That's like the joy in it, right? The joy is to try to like solve someone else's problem through your creative horsepower. And so the ability to take criticism, and honestly, the ability to like get dumb ideas thrown at you and be like, okay, that is a moronic idea, but how can I take what they're saying and make it work? Because maybe, I wouldn't have thought of that. It's stupid, but like maybe I can turn it into something.
Yeah.
That's how good stuff happens, honestly.
You're right. Keeping your ears open and being open to other people's ideas. Like sometimes it's just a little bit of tweaking, just like what you're doing with, they've got an idea and that you can take it to the next step, even if they can't, in terms of how to make it translate to a hat, because you're used to working on that canvas.
I'll tell you this. Here's a crossover story, like a very specific story. So Lehigh Valley Iron Pigs. So Jay and I have named like 60 something teams now. We've been involved in the naming process. And previous to the Iron Pigs, we were thinking like Clearwater Threshers and like these cool let's find a cool animal and like whatever. That was our thinking. Then Chuck Domino, he's this like godfather of modern minor league baseball. He's out of Reading, Pennsylvania. He got hired by the Phillies to open their AAA, the Iron Pigs in Lehigh Valley. And he came on and we went through this whole naming process. And one of the names was like the Vulcans. And that's what Jason and I want to do, because it's Iron Country and Vulcan is like the god of fire and steel and something in Roman. And he was like, no, we're going to be the Iron Pigs, because pig iron is like the raw material for whatever. And Jay and I were like, are you crazy? No, whatever. So, but he was like, you're going to do it and it's going to be great. And I remember sending them the first sketches and they were like, all these like pigs, like working on a railroad and stuff. I think they're cool logos, but he came back and he's like, no, I want it like an NFL logo. But I was like, but your name is the Iron Pigs. it's not the Eagles or the Tiger, you know. And you're like, no, NFL logo, but Iron Pigs. I was like, okay, that's a dumb idea, but okay. Iron Pigs, like one of them.
And it fucking works, man.
They'll probably put it on my tombstone, you know.
It works. So Casey, listen, we're about to head into the final leg of our show for the night, which is where we go through the week in review. But before we do that, I want to know what's next.
That's a great question. What is next? So we're figuring out the basics of running the new Clink room, the customer servicing, all of that stuff. We've got weeks now of orders in place. We're getting back our first stitch samples, which is exciting. So that's the basics, sort of the basic footwork we're figuring out. So now there's a little more room to be editorial. So actually for you guys, we are going to like exclusive launch. We're launching the Dog League, and it's a new league. So we have the Shadow League, the Kong League, Clink Kong League, and we have and the Reject League. And this is our fourth league. This is, Clink did this forever. We did the Taco Shop League and all these different leagues. So we're going to bring that back, and we're launching with 3 fresh designs. One from me, I did the Chili Dogs. Efra did at Chimuco Studios. He did the Bully Dogs. And then Jason Volanti, one of the most insane designers. He works for Brandiose. He's like such a badass. He did the Frenchies, this like 6.
Ooh. Casey, can I do a Wednesday night crit?
Okay, yes.
Make that rose red.
Okay. I think pink's weirder.
Make that rose red, man. Make that thing pop. That's just a Wednesday night crit, man. I mean, you guys are gonna do.
I debated it, but I thought, maybe it'll exist in the future, and
maybe that'll be a.
We don't really have plans on ever re-releasing any of the designs on the Clink room, but some of the logos we have a deal with Hat Club. They're gonna live on at Hat Club in different colorways into the future.
Okay. So you're telling me to hit up T8. You're telling me to hit up John.
Hit up John. Red Rose is I'm sure is in its future. That Frenchie logo. I mean, Efra's logo is sick too. But when I saw that Frenchie's logo, I was like, damn.
I'm in on all 3, Casey.
Good.
I'm in on all 3.
Good.
So I know Jason, we probably have some questions building up at this point.
We have quite a few questions. And one of them has to do with you said designs wouldn't be coming back, but a lot of people are asking about the cork series and the cork under. Any plans to start incorporating some of those into maybe future Clink room or Brandiose type of releases?
I would love to do an edition again. There's some of my favorite things I've ever worked on. I mean, the Tulsa Drillers, our first ever edition that we did, is like such an unusual hat. I still don't feel like I've ever seen any hat like it. Even like the way the cork worked with that, like the denim blue, and it's so unusual. That was a cool hat to launch the Clink room with. Yes, I want to do an editions. I don't know how it's going to fit. One of the issues that I want to combat that I think I fucked up with last time we ran the Clink room was trying to find my way and find something that really hit with people. And it was always successful, right? But I was always trying to explore, and I felt like I was a little ADD with it. And I now, as a grizzled veteran, a business owner, I've realized that you kind of need a simple idea and just keep kind of hammering away at it. So for a while, I just want to make this like weekly drop the collaboration thing. I want to make that front and center, and I want to avoid adding t-shirts or I think I want to just keep one thing and be really careful about what I bring back in. So if we did an edition, would it be pre-order? I don't know. There's lots to figure out. Good question.
Speaking on the weekly orders and everything, Aaron wants to know that these are probably pretty popular. And I don't know if you've gotten any in yet to ship out, but is new releases every week going to be sustainable for you and your team? And or do you worry that the quality of the releases or the designs might suffer releasing so often?
I don't think so. Again, like we have pretty crazy horsepower here at Brandiose, and we're using it. And yeah, and I think a lot about that moment when the hats start like being delivered in come August, September, October area, when those first ones come in. You know, I think a lot about like how important it is. And it goes back to our conversation about grabbing that hat off the shelf. I want that moment to be pretty exciting for people. So, I don't know. So the quality wise, no, but I mean, but everyone's definition of quality is different.
We have to get Casey on when we do our first unboxing.
Yeah.
Right.
That'd be awesome.
And there's going to be some misses. There's always some misses. We're putting out a lot of content. We're going to try our damnedest.
So Jason, well, let's ask like 3 more questions.
Yep.
And then we can start the weekend review and pepper them in as we go through. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Adam wants to know, you kind of gave a mini masterclass on hat design a little bit in this conversation. He wants to know, what's the one piece of advice you'd give somebody designing for hats or for hat embroidery specifically?
Okay, there's a few things. So if you can accomplish a highlight with the raised embroidery, always accomplish it with raised embroidery. There's some things you can't, like for instance, an eye highlight. I was thinking about like, have you guys ever heard of like the sideshow collectibles? Like there's like a whole comic book thing. I don't know. I was thinking of, I saw someone at a comic book shop once, and like they had like the eye was like glossy. And I was like, you know, I don't think I'll ever be able to do that on a hat. And that made me kind of sad. So that's why you'll probably always see a highlight on a hat. But if you don't have to like highlight a shoulder of a muscle, right, of an arm, don't do that. The other, this is probably a more applicable comment, is that this is the #1 issue actually that I think I get with things. The detail issue can be resolved a little bit. Almost everyone's design is too detailed that submits for the Clink room, but the hat canvas is wide, very wide, almost 2 to 1. I would say it's like 1.7 to 1 wide. So if you do a narrow, like Seahorse is actually, this was I would say 25% taller. Before we submitted this final artwork, I shrunk it like by maybe a third. And it's because it's like things that are too high or too narrow, there's just a limit to that. But the canvas itself is huge. I mean, there's probably some designs out here that are like very, very wide, and it's a wide canvas. People don't think of it; they think of it as a vertical canvas. It ain't. It's a horizontal canvas.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
Yeah, you think wings before legs, right?
Yeah, I mean, you know, like I think people, we get a lot of criticism, Brandiose. I think it's just because we do a lot of work, and there's some tropes that we repeat, but a lot of them are because of the limitations of embroidery. I mean, one of them is the running position. Like I won't ever do. I mean, maybe someday, but I never say never. But like a standing position of a character is bad, not because standing is bad. Standing's fine. But because if I can make him running, then I can make his legs. Okay, so this is the dude. Look how tall this is. If I make him running, look how short his legs are compared to his body. Now I get this full canvas.
Yeah. Is that why we see a lot of like swinging or like peaking designs from Brandiose? Is just to widen the design?
Swinging is like a historical nod. You know what I mean? At this point now, when we do swinging, it's like a challenge. Like I've done so many damn swinging logos. How can I do a new swinging logo that I haven't done yet before. Actually, one of my favorite logos we ever did was the Rough Riders, the swinging teddy, and how, you know, I'm always looking at ways like, how can I do a new swinging character? I'm also from San Diego. The Swinging Friar is like my favorite sports logo of all time. So so one thing people probably know too is that we do like a Swinging Friar, like homage to all the affiliates of the Padres. That's like this was a design by San Diego kids.
Wawa.
Yeah, sort of Easter egg. No, but for the swinging Teddy, Teddy Roosevelt, who was the head of the Rough Riders, hated baseball. So it's like, okay, well, he hates baseball, so I'm gonna make him swing wrong because he wouldn't know how to swing. He's gonna swing like a guy that hates baseball. So that was like a cheater way to like make a swinging character that had never been done before.
Cool. Now, there's one more fun question. Anybody that follows Brandiose's Instagram knows you guys travel all over the country, do tons of research at ballparks and cities all across America when you're working for teams. Adam wants to know which minor league ballpark has the best food.
Probably El Paso. El Paso is one of the most impressive ballparks in the country. Unbelievable. I mean, yeah, just the energy, the amount of like passion. It's like football levels of like sort of fandom. And you don't even get that at, maybe you get that at Yankees or something. Like you don't get that at the minor league level. So yeah, but the food in El Paso is pretty unbelievable. I mean, you can get all the like fruits, you know, with the spice all over it and the crazy nachos, and that's pretty fun. I mean, my favorite ballpark though, I know you didn't ask this, but I'm gonna answer it anyways, is other than El Paso, maybe a few others, but my number one park, if anyone is even close to it, is Reading, the Reading Vikings. And it's because it's so minor league baseball. You know, it's cobbled together. It feels like a relic from another era. The food is interesting. They have some great stuff that like you should eat, but I wouldn't call it like, it's not trendy. It's just I don't know. It's a place at a time. It's like a David Lynch movie or like I don't know. It's great. Go to Reading, Pennsylvania. And El Paso.
Casey, listen, I think this was that hour. That was an hour. Flew by.
Great.
I hope we can borrow you for another 20 minutes.
Yeah, please. Make it an hour.
But Casey, can I ask one question? Can you show everyone the rally cap real quick or no?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. What did you ask me to bring some hats that I was supposed to show? I have those, but I can show them all. Yeah.
Altoona Curve.
Yeah, Altoona Curve here. Right. So I think I remember seeing they started making these as like this, right? Like directly. Okay, this is just a regular 5950 with a liner in it.
Yeah.
And so the idea was Al the Tuna, who's the rally mascot in Altoona, Pennsylvania. He's this like crappy goldfish mascot that they got off of like eBay for like $150, and they call him Al the Tuna, and he pops out of this hole in the wall. And so we had the thought, like, we were kind of, for a while there, we were like firsts. We got to be, first glow in the dark official on field, first pink embroidered official color official on field. It was like, what's our first? And so we're like, all right, let's do the first like official rally camp. So Al the Tuna, looking like a dope with his eyes pointed in opposite direction.
Looking badass, man.
Cool.
So Casey, you said you had a couple of you brought a couple. Yeah, I did ask you if you could. I got so caught up. Got so caught up in your paintbrush skills translated into embroidery, I forgot.
Okay, I'm gonna burn through these. So these are a few that I think are no. So this is our craziest embroidery we ever did.
Mishka collab.
The Mishka collaboration. These guys are amazing. I'm still a huge Mishka fan. I have a bunch of dead stock from this stuff too that I just saved for me because I was so obsessed with this whole project we did together. It was so fun. And they were like right by my old apartment in Brooklyn too. Their shop down in Southside Williamsburg. But this embroidery has more layers. I think it has 4 layers of foam. We've never done anything like that. Like, I don't know who the rep was that pushed for that, allowed that. Like they slayed on the like instructions. It's still the most complicated instructions I've ever done. If you see this in person, it has a raised I've never seen on another like on, I can't even show it, like on another
Casey,
like,
Casey, can you send me a picture of it later?
sure, yeah.
That I can post for everybody.
The resale value on that just went up. Made it harder for me.
I'm really into series too. So we've done a few of these. We did the Rochester plates and the Rochester clean plates. So, but this was the first of that. This one I'm really proud of. This got me thinking about like logo design and hat design almost as like, as a series, as like we could serialize it almost like a television show or something like that, right? So we did, this was the, you know, the cheesesteaks for Lehigh Valley. We did but you can, you know, if you ever, we're like huge foodies. Wherever we go, we eat the food. But, you know, you go to Philly, you get with or without onions. And
yeah.
Those are the 2 there. You can order your cheesesteak however you want. This one, let's see here. This is like an OG clinker hat that I don't think it gets enough love. This is from Gayula. I know I'm not saying his name right. He's this Hungarian badass out of Budapest. And he's a comic book artist right now for Dark Horse. He did the Death Dogs in the latest incarnation, which I thought was underappreciated design too. He is such a badass designer, and I'm such a huge fan of his work. But this was one of his first, I think it was his. I hope it was his. But it's the Trick or Treats. And one thing I love about this is that the mask is all raised, but like the kid is all flat. So like the mask looks like it was like stuck on the kid's face. Hold that there. Such an underrated hat, amazing hat.
Anyone want a hat battle, Casey?
What's that?
Anybody want a hat battle, Casey?
I haven't even shown you my samples. We could do. Maybe we should raffle off a hat battle, but you have to come to Brandiose Studios once the virus is done, and stuff that I can't. No pictures allowed. You got to leave your camera in the box. But all right. So this hat here, this is a crazy hat. So this was the first Clink hat ever. This is such a bad. This is Chupacabras by shoot, what's his name? Sorry, I can't remember. But it was badass hat, unbelievable design, cool embroidery, all that stuff. But this is before we had access to a reliable New Era rep. We built this hat with Elm Company, and we went nuts on this hat. So it's got the like Clink on the side hit, right? That's our like New Era flag. It's got the Taco Shop League, like the, you know, guy sleeping in the taco. It's got the sticker. We designed these like embroidered stickers that pop off, size stickers. Everyone is different. So this is, I don't know what, this one is 7 3/8. This embroidered, peels off. Then the inside has the different tags, right? And then there's like a clear Clink print on the underside of the hat. And then, and then the what do you call it? It's got print on it too. So this is like, I don't know who still has these, but that one's pretty hardcore.
You know one guy that does. All right, so listen, man. I couldn't think of a better way to spend the last hour and 5 minutes.
Good. It's been a blast.
It has been, and thanks again for coming on. Now, I think there'll probably be some questions as we move along, Casey, through the week in review. But Leon, you ready to take us through this, or?
Yeah, let's do it.
Wow.
All right, so sorry guys. All right, you guys can see that, right?
Yeah.
All right, so this week in caps, let's go through Hat Club first. Hat Club dropped the Neon Skulls. I think this was a Brunch Boys collection. Sold out right away, and then they went straight to pre-order. I don't know if Jay, is the pre-order still on for these, or is it over now?
I believe it was. Let me
Yeah,
check quick.
I think if you're getting the news now, it's already too late.
They're still up.
Okay, cool. So they had a bunch of teams. They left out the Blue Jays, unfortunately, but a bunch of teams were up. I grabbed the LA ones. Pierre, how do you feel about these ones?
I love them, man. I don't know. I like these better than the conventional sugar skulls that were less loud.
Mhm.
I don't know. I like them, man. I think they did a really good job with these designs.
Yeah.
Now, sugar skulls aren't for everybody, but I like them.
Yeah. And then there was like a double LA drop. So LA drop in black with the 50th anniversary, and then they did almost like a Laker colorway.
Mhm.
So these ones went right away.
That one's going immediately.
Yeah. Then they did the Canada Day pack. So they dropped a ton of Canadian teams. So the 97 Blue Jay, the red flat, the Mounties, Expos. That powder blue is probably the highlight. The Blue Jay logo that's not normally used. That one's really cool.
Yeah.
Pierre, what do you think about these ones?
I love it. There's a Brandiose up there too, right?
Yeah, the Mounties.
We did that Mountie there.
Yeah.
The Mountie actually was my second favorite out of this group. My favorite was the Canada Day cap, the on-field Canada Day cap, and then from '97, and then the Brandiose one. The Mountie was my second favorite.
That Mountie was actually a Hail Mary. We were told that like we couldn't do a Mountie. I guess Canada's really like strict about showing Mounties as a logo or as like a graphic. Like they shut it down for trademark purposes really fast. Even like Disney, I guess, got shut down. But because the team, it's sports, man. Sports, you get away with all kinds of crazy stuff. But yeah, it got through. So
Yeah. So funny story too. The Expos hat there, right? I was like, oh man, I gotta have this. I'm so excited. Blah blah blah. So I pick up the hat, and then I'm going to do a picture with all my Expos hats, and I already had the hat. Well, there's my double. But that hat's a great hat too. There's something about baby blue with the powder blue with the green underbrim. The green underbrim. That's just sharp.
Yeah. Watermelon pack. So this one went really quick. Probably one of the drops of the year. PBJ's killing it with this one. Instant cop for me. I had to grab all four. Yeah. This one went pretty fast.
Hey Casey, as we're moving to the next slide, one person, Tariq, who's a huge Clink, he's got some Clink stuff from the early days, and he just loves it. He just wants to know how you do your clouds. Like, how do you make the clouds look so good?
Clouds?
Yeah.
Well, I think it goes back to like, you know, the logo, the design itself, the shape itself is pretty plain, but I know in my mind, and I'll even sometimes sketch it before I finalize the final artwork, but I'll like break down how am I going to break the cloud into chunks so that it looks good, so it looks fluffy. That's it. Fluffiness. That's my answer.
Thanks, Casey.
Perfect. I hope Tariq can sleep now at night.
I think Tariq was, just so you're aware, Tariq was messaging me on Instagram. He was trying to video call me, and he was texting me to try to get the answer to that. So I had to ask.
Yeah, he called me twice.
You can just DM me. I'm here.
Yeah.
He called me twice. So ecapcity dropped a couple. The New York Big Apple, the upside down robot. The upside down Chicago Bulls logo, which looks like it's a robot either having a good time or reading a book, and then the cat.
Well, either way, having a good time, because if you're reading a book, to some that's having a good time, Leon. Let's be clear.
Sure, but I mean, it looks like he's
There's
really
two
having
different ways this upside down bull could be having a good time.
Yeah. So you got to.
So we said the horns are the legs of no.
No. The legs are in his right beside his hands almost.
Leon, why don't you describe to Casey the other version besides the book reading?
He's just.
I got that one. I didn't ask about that one.
I just wanted to hear Leon explain it.
I'll tiptoe around that one. And then they had some pink bottom action, some bootleg hat club stuff. So we got the palm tree and then the team describe, New York cat. These were kind of a miss for me personally, but
Yeah,
you know, I'm sure they sold out.
they did sell out. The team described, please just go away. Please
Casey,
just go away. Now they're doing it. There's some places are doing it on yellow hats. Now it's black and pink under. Like, just team describe, go the fuck away, please.
With the palm tree one, Casey, how do you feel about the logo, the whole logo being weighted, or do you like? So for me, pet peeve. I like to see the LA centered and not the whole logo weighted. How do you stand on this debate?
That's a good question. I see what you mean. And the bottom left one, it doesn't really look like it has a problem, but then you see it straight on, and that is a problem. I mean, where you weight a logo is a big conversation that we have regularly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, with something like this, I think you have to ask yourself philosophically: is the palm tree an add-on, or is it like, is the LA palm tree the whole logo? Right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I would say that all of these are just add-ons, right? I mean, to me, they feel like patches that are meant to be sewn on. In which case, the LA should be centered.
Perfect. Cool.
Did I answer that correctly?
Yeah, you're in the majority on that, Casey, for sure.
Yeah. Then they had some icy blues and some pink bottoms. That 59 Pirates, probably one of the best side patches ever.
It's so good.
Yeah,
I think out of respect to Hat Club and Justin, we should call them not quite icy blues and a little less than pink unders.
Okay.
Eraser bottoms.
Well, their motto is, if it's not no-ho, it's a no-go, right? So
Damn.
exclusive.
Oh, there's a team describing the bright yellow taxi cab bootleg.
Yeah. And then the Queens, and then more team describe. Yeah, we'll leave those where they stand. And then some more not quite pinks and not quite blues. The Arizona one looks real cool though. That purple and pink really works well. And then they had a couple of the Washington championship patches. These championship patches look really big compared to, I guess, the regular standard 2019.
Well, the other one's a World Series like on-field logo.
Mm-hmm.
This is the Champions logo,
Right,
so
yeah.
it would be different. But these are at least embroidered and not liquid chrome.
Yeah, but these are huge I'm just saying, compared to the championship patch, this has got to be 2 times bigger. I mean, sorry, World Series to championship in terms of size, it's huge. Nice looking hats. Locker room of Downey.
Oh,
So, do you remember the workout hats of last year? So it looks like they came out with like a regular poly version for LA. And then
These
super big.
These are all only $20, you know.
Yeah,
Really?
These all were on
Vampire
sale.
ones were all $20.
They all went $20 on July 4th, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So they had the military style flag. So this one kind of comes up in the debate. The military guys like the stars facing front, but then civilians, they don't really care as much. But this is interesting that they did it the military style way. And then more Raiders. They get some suede, some Mountain Wall, Raider Nation stuff. If you're looking for anything West Coast, Locker Room Danny's got it.
Oh, man, I love that. I love that place.
Me, do you want to talk about this hat? You like this hat, right?
Yeah, I like this hat a lot. I like the look of the stripe. The only downside to this thing is that silicone graphic. I can't do silicone graphics or silicone logos like that. Just, it doesn't feel right on my head.
Yeah.
I passed on it, although I love the look. I love the stripe. I wish they'd do that embroidered, and it'd be an instant cap for me.
This is not my kind of cap.
Headliners came out with like a 4th of July pack, so they brought back their Paperboy and then their world famous monogram. So this one, so you see the flag is flying the other way. A couple of the military guys don't like it, but you know.
Tony just said it's part of the flag code. Stars have to be forward. So it's not just a military civilian thing. It's how you fly the flag.
Really?
Oh,
Okay.
we'll look it up.
I'm learning. I just know that like civilians aren't required to wear stuff that's always forward facing because they're not running to battle and stuff like that.
One of the beauties, Casey, as we were talking about the beauties of being a creative and getting a lot of constructive feedback, Leon and I are the most fact-checked men on the face of the earth when it comes to the hat world.
Okay.
I'm sure Casey deals with it, right? Like I'm sure.
I get a little bit. Yeah, it's a cross to bear. It's okay.
Sneaker Room came out with this New York Yankee hat. Looks like the one that Hat Club did a little bit earlier, but kind of cool if you missed out on the Houston joint. New York Yankees. We know you like the Yankees, Pierre.
Listen, the thing I don't like about this hat isn't even the Yankees component of it. It's the patch doesn't just. It's like so much shit going on.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't look clean and cohesive. It looks like, hey, I'm going to take this hat, put some wild color, and throw a pink underbrim on it. It doesn't feel like a cohesive, like good-looking cap to me.
Yeah, well, I mean, people freaked out about the Houston one. That one sold out right away. So, I mean,
but the Houston one
had other pink elements in it.
Yeah, there's pink elements in the patch.
Yeah.
Well, it's a miss. I agree with you.
It's sold out right away, so a lot of people like this one, but
it's sold out because people are jumping on whatever they can with a pink underbrim.
Yeah. How do you feel about the pink and the alternative color undervisors, Casey? I noticed you guys done some of those on the new Clink Room stuff.
We did it on the old Clink Room stuff. I remember we did jams with the red undervisor. I don't think anyone was really doing a lot of that. I think we're story first, so I think one reason why people have picked up on the pink undervisor. I mean, I like when you said watermelon to the green and red collection. That's brilliant. I mean, it's a great story. It feels summery. So whatever serves the story. I mean, but if you didn't call that a watermelon style, you would think, oh, it's a Christmas hat. Like, it wouldn't make sense. But as soon as you said watermelon, it looks great. Story's everything.
Yeah, and that whole pack concept, right, of like a collection, it kind of creates even more desire to complete the collection.
Yeah, I think it's just another way to tell a story too. Yeah, I mean, I love the side patch thing. The more graphics, the better. I'm also just like a huge fan of like event logos in general. We do tons of them at Brandiose. They're some of my most favorite things that we come out of our shop.
I heard the plane, by the way, Casey. I heard the plane go over.
Yeah. Our friends over in Germany, Just Fitted, they released this bear hat. It's crazy colors. It's got pink. It looks like a pink kind of suede, and then it's like that really icy blue kind of undervisor. Just Fitted. I love their bear logo, but the shipping right now from Germany is killing me. So I skipped on this one. I didn't even look, but Just Fitted's always killing it. Then they released this. I think it's a Riptide material, super hot pink. Just Fitted's. Superhero stuff came out with this Mandalorian hat. Are you a big Star Wars guy, Casey?
Huge Star Wars guy. Huge.
Yeah. Superhero stuff's always coming with the crazy nerdy type hats. So the Mandalorian one.
Yeah, that's so badass. Yeah.
Our
office over the top of it used to be a comic book shop. For about the last 5 years, we were on top of a comic book shop. It was pretty amazing.
Cool. Seventh Line. You want to introduce these ones, Pierre?
Yeah,
you got one of these, right?
Yeah, I picked up the Pride cap. I don't think enough teams do stuff with Pride. In terms of I don't know, man. I'd just like to see more stuff that kind of has social relevance. Be it supporting the Black community or Pride, whatever it is. I just want to see more of it. Now, I have the hat in hand. I will say I think it could have been better. I wasn't a big fan of the hat in hand, but I do like the idea and the thought behind it. I did post this on my Instagram if anyone else wants to get a look at it, but I don't know, man. I think it was a great idea, great concept. I'd give it, a 5 out of 10 in terms of its execution.
Yeah, the Mets logo is too small and it's too high, right?
Yeah.
100%. When I got it in, Casey, the first thing that I said is this logo is too high.
Both of them are too. The one on the left is too high too. And then what is this? What's the back hit on those?
That's the 7 line. That's the company. That's their logo.
They're a New York Mets fan organization.
Yeah. I think a lot of their stuff is really cool. I like a lot of their jersey front caps. I have a lot of their jersey front caps, but again, I wanted to show support, so I did purchase the Mets Pride cap, but in hand, it's not as nice as I would like it to be.
That's not a France flag, right? The New York State flag looks like that almost.
The New York State flag.
Yeah, New York State flag. And listen, I don't know, man. It's just kind of like slapped on there. I don't know, man.
That's not the New York State flag. Is like blue with like a seal in the middle. Isn't that supposed to be like an Italian flag or something?
I don't remember exactly what that was.
It's the flag of New York City without the
emblem
decal in the middle.
Oh, okay.
You couldn't embroider it that small.
Yeah. It just looks like a France flag to me, but
yeah.
Then Trenton Thunder came out with a little 3-pack, with pinstripes, with the text. That was really cool. Is that their alternate logo in the middle, Jay? Do you know anything about this one?
Yeah, it is. They're I don't know what they call it, the Thunder Strike logo or whatever.
Didn't they use that on a Copa too?
I don't think so.
No, I don't think so. That one like reminds me a lot of like an Ink Park. It would look like an Ink Park kind of logo.
Ink Park did it better. That what do you call it? Lightning Boy.
And then they had that looks like a double logo. So you got the New York Yankees on this one side and then the Trenton Thunder on the front. That one's kind of interesting. And then Rocky Mountain Oysters. Our buddy Cooper is doing a pre-order for this one over at Team Collective. This one's an interesting story. I'm not sure if you're aware of this one, Casey, but the Rocky Mountain Vibes, that team you guys worked with, I guess they originally had like a team naming contest.
Yes,
and
we put together,
yeah. And then the Rocky Mountain Oysters, which is I guess fried bull testicles.
Yes, it is.
That name did pretty well, but then it didn't. You guys decided not to go with that team name, so
we didn't decide that.
Okay.
No,
all right, well, whatever happened, someone decided that it would.
I think I would have preferred Rocky Mountain Oysters. I think it's funny, but no, it's cool that someone's running with it. I would still love to get a team name that. I think that's so fun.
Yeah, so our buddy Cooper, he made a custom for it to represent what the team should have been, I guess. So it's a cool double entendre there. So shout out to Cooper. And then our friends over at the Capologist, we released the Huskies in blue, and then for autism awareness, we're doing Hunter's Turtle again in black. So the hat on the right benefits Autism Speaks. So that pre-order is up right now on thecapologist.com. And then now the Clink Room portion of the show. So these all hit pre-order. So Pierre, you seeing anything here that stands out?
I did like the Hornet with the
Mm-hmm.
brass knuckles, and that was a really cool idea.
The details on that are so small. It'd be interesting to see how you guys pull it off.
I'm into the shoe. It looks like the Vans. They almost look like a pair of Vans, with the gum. That's a really cool idea. I love that. I don't like the grenade.
He's a sunflower seed. He's the kernel.
Yeah. I'm not feeling it. I'm spitting that sunflower seed out. Not into it. But listen, that's the beauty of this, right? Everyone has different opinions and different thoughts around it, but I'm all in on that Murder Hornet and the sneakers.
I think the Murder Hornet's going to be good. We did a lot of adjusting, a lot of shortening of its abdomen so that it could be wider. We made the brass knuckles and a lot of the details in the thorax there bigger. So yeah, we're concerned with detail too. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Listen, it's such a cool idea. Like, look at that, man. There's like butcher knives in there. There's like, it's just so cool to me.
It's such a fun idea.
Yeah.
As soon as it came across, I knew that was going to be a winner for sure.
Perfect. And then these ones, we were supposed to break these on the show, but I guess it was leaked by certain individuals. I ruined the surprise for everyone, but that's okay. We'll talk about that off air. The dog league I guess got launched.
The dog took a leak.
Yeah, yeah. And then there's 3 real cool ones. Our friend Ephra designed the bulldog.
Ephra needs to stop, man. He's making me poor.
Yeah. The chili dogs is really cool. Whoever designed that, that's pretty awesome. And then the French bulldog. I'm all in on the French bulldog. One thing I'd probably change is just make this all black hat and then pink under. That'd be pretty cool. But I'll take it as is. It's cool looking.
You know what's interesting? You know what's interesting, Leon? You said you'll take it as is. Of course you will. That's the way it's coming.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm fine with that. It's my one of my best friends, Matt. He has a dog named Ray, French bulldog. Looks exactly like that, so I'm buying it. I sent it to him right away. He's like, "I'll take one." I'm like, "I didn't make this, but I'm just."
Listen, I want one of these hats just so when I go to the Westminster Dog Show every year that I can wear it.
Do you really go to the Westminster Dog Show every year?
No, Casey.
Okay. Okay. I know, but Ephra slays, man. Ephra's logos they feel like when you see them, whenever I see them, I'm like, of course this is a logo that should exist.
Yeah, listen, it's crazy, man. Like, my favorite of his of all time now is that is the Brawler. I just love the Brawler. I can't get enough of it.
Brawler's incredible, and I mean, my favorite the Brawlers was always my favorite, and then he did the Ghost Army that we launched, the Clink.
Oh yeah, I got that one pre-ordered.
It's so good. Like, I can't wait to wear that hat.
I like this Kong too.
Yeah, his Kong is great. No, everything he does is he's done a bunch of stuff of Copa for us and for Brandiose, and he's so talented. I mean, he's the first guy I called when we were thinking about relaunching the Clink room.
Yeah, that timber rattlers one he did.
Oh yeah, fucking badass, man.
Badass. But yeah, that's the end of the speaking caps. I think the community really had a great time, getting to know you, Casey, and on behalf of everyone, we're getting a lot of questions, regarding bringing back some of the old stuff from the vault. So I don't know if that's an option or whatever. I just want to throw it out there.
So I feel a little torn. I mean, I feel like it could be pretty easy to throw up some some old logo, shams or some. I mean, I get hit a couple times a week to re-release shams, but I do kind of like the purity of it being nothing but fresh logos on Clink. But we have a really great relationship with Hack Club. And John and all of those guys over there we're really, really close with them, and we're excited that at least for now, and I think for the future that the logos are going to sort of live on in Hack Club, and they're going to be good shepherds of the brand from there on out. So we can concentrate. If I'm honest, I'm not really interested in chasing the merchandise game. That's not interesting to me. What's interesting to me is where can we push hat design? How weird can we make the stories? How, can we find new, fresh designers that I can hire for Brandiose work later? And I want to collaborate. Actually, if I could put one message out to everybody, and I think I said this earlier about ideas. It's like, if you have an idea, just send me the idea. And if we love it, we'll make it a thing. In fact, we did Omar with Cap, he's at CapFiend on Instagram, and we collabed with him to bring that one to life in a way that's going to look great on embroidery with the King Clink. But we have another one that we're working on right now that's going to release in the next couple of weeks that I'm ecstatic about. And it's with a collector from the community, and it's a badass story. And I just the second it came in, it was the second or third day we launched too, he sent me the sketch from a sketchbook, and I was like, you got to give me a minute because I got to like get the Clink room up and running. But we're gonna launch. We're gonna like work together on this. So
Nice. Cool. Well, listen, I can't tell you how great this was, man. I mean, I can't even put it into words. This was when I was writing some of the promos for this and saying we're going to talk to a legend in the game. I meant it, and listen, this confirmed it. So, Casey, I gotta tell you, man, this was an outstanding hour and a half. It was impressive to hear not only the journey that you took to get to where you are today, but also the detail in your craft and how you kind of go about your work. And listen, man, I feel better having done this interview and knowing more about you and kind of how you approach things, because I learned a lot of things, not only about the embroidery business, but just about your perspective and how you handle things. So that's my big takeaway from talking to you today. And I'm sure a lot of other folks would agree with that. But, you know, thanks again for being on. I can't thank you enough. And on behalf of Jason and Leon, we're looking forward to seeing what's next.
Absolutely.
You're too kind, man. This is I feel the love and I feel the appreciation, and at a crazy time like this, you know, we you know, honestly, because of the Clink room, we don't have to furlough anybody. We don't have to like, staff gets to stay on. In fact, we're like upping people because of it. And
you know, again, Casey, you don't have a business background, but you have a heart and you have creativity, man. And that's kind of what made that happen. So anyone who's around you, who works for you, should feel indebted to you in that way too, just about how you're handling yourself. So thank you.
We're just so grateful for all of it. Thank you for the kind words, and I can't wait to come back.
Yeah. No, we're gonna have you back, Casey. We can't wait. Casey, hopefully you can come on when I unbox my first. Get you on Instagram, and I'll unbox my first Clink room.
Okay. Yeah, I can't wait. I that moment, I'm like envisioning that moment when these boxes are just gonna start landing in y'all's doors.
Sure.
Just drop them all those planes flying over your head and right there.
That's right. All right, cool. So Leon, you ready to take us away?
Yeah, make sure you guys like, rate, review, subscribe to the channel. We will be back on Saturday with a cat battle, and we will be doing Views After Dark on Friday. So hopefully you guys...
Views After Dark. Oh, shit. Not again.
Dark. Yeah. Not for the faint of heart.
No,
but
not
thank
for
you.
old people like me either, man. I'm done after that.
You better start sleeping now, Pierre.
I got to work on Saturday at my real job. I'm going to be fucked up, man.
You got to call in tired, man. But yeah, stay fitted. We will catch you guys soon. Thanks for joining, guys.
Thank you, guys.